Let's discuss about data pre-processing in this section. Basically, in data pre-processing, we are preparing the raw data for machine learning models. So you will have a data which is not formatted or not clean. So that data will be cleaned and normalized with different aspects. So in this stage, right, your data will be clean, standardized, and ready for analysis. There are some steps involved in data pre-processing. First one is the cleaning, normalization, standardization, and splitting data. Okay. So we'll go to cleaning. So data cleaning involves detecting and correcting errors, inconsistencies in the data set to improve the quality and reliability of the data. Basically, right, wherever you have errors and wherever the data is not consistent with that data will be clean. Like for example, right, like handling missing values, right? So in some there will be multiple rows. One of the row, right, will be empty. There's no data, right? So you will input in two ways. Either you'll delete the whole row, or you'll have a data, right, by help of mean, medium, and mode, right? So with the help of these three, any of these three aspects, we'll input the data. Next thing is we'll remove the duplicates. So wherever you have duplicate rows, right, that will be removed. Like correcting errors, some inconsistent data errors, right, will be corrected here, such as formatting issues, right? We'll just see some examples how the data is clean. Okay, okay, these are some of the examples. So let's go through one by one. First is the missing data. So suppose that you have a data set with missing values in the column age. Like you have the age, so there are some rows, right, which doesn't have the age. So either option one is you'll remove, option one is you'll calculate the age, right, based on any of these mean, median, or mode of the column, or the second option is you remove the complete row. Suppose if there are less percentage of rows which doesn't have the age. So just consider, right, if out of 10 out of 1000 rows, right, doesn't have age, then it's better to just remove those columns. Suppose that you don't have the data for 100 or more than 100 rows, right? It's more than 10%, right? 10%. So in that case, right, you have to calculate the age, mean, median, and you have to input roughly. Okay. Removing duplicate entries. It's simple. Wherever you have multiple rows, right, with the same identical data, so best thing is you have to remove the duplicates. Okay. Uh, so basically an example, right? In a customer data set, the same customer appears twice with same information, right? Then that one entry you can remove it. Correcting data entry errors, like a column is data entry, like some in some columns they will say 5K, in some columns they'll say find the 5,000, in some columns they'll say dollars 5,000, right? And then it's better to have a uniform format for all the entries. So in 5,000, so instead of using dollar 5,000 5K, right, it's better to use just simple as 5,000. Then outlier detection and treatment. A few rows in the column that have extreme and impossible values. It's like for example, height value, right, 500 centimeters in a data set, right? So it is where most of the values are between 150 and 200. So like that is unusual, right? So most of the values are 150 and 200, but in some of the cases, right, there is it's indicated as 500. So that also you have to remove those outliners because that's outside the scope. So fixing data formats, it's related to data formats like date, right, can be represented in different formats, so that you have to normalize the date. So these are the simple errors, right, related to data related to some regular employee data or some data, right? So then we'll see some of the examples, right, in Wi-Fi. If you consider Wi-Fi, right, in network logs collected from Wi-Fi network show multiple entries of the same SSID due to frequent reconnections. Yeah. Mm. Okay. So in some cases, what happens is you have multiple SSIDs, right? Suppose you are counting the number of SSIDs, right, in a network, right, in a particular Wi-Fi network or in a particular area. Okay. So suppose there is a disconnection, it will log in as one more entry with the same SSID. So in such cases, right, you have to remove the duplicate. Right? These are the some of the cases, right, in case of Wi-Fi. Then if handling missing device metadata. So problem is Bluetooth scanning data contains missing device names or MAC address for some detected devices. So so wherever you have missing MAC addresses, right, you have to fill in the byte cross routing with previous known or stored values or flag entries are missing identifiers. So this is must because you have to fill the device names by cross-referencing. Stuff. Then in healthcare, right? Like patient health records or missing values or key details like blood pressure, temperature due to faulty sensor readings, skip measurements. So here, right, that's must in healthcare, right? You need to, even if the data is not there, you need to have the data. So impute the missing values using a potential historical data, average or trends, or remove incomplete entries. Because so you will have a analysis, right, based on your data only. So you have to do a average, or you have to take the historical data, or you have to make a data based on the trend, right? You have to do all these things. So for in case of healthcare, suppose you have in industrial IoT, right? So temperature sensor in a factory reports a temperature of 300 degrees outside the expected operating range. Yeah, so the threshold here, right, is given as 20 degrees centigrade to 100 degrees centigrade. But here there's a data entry, right? It is reporting a temperature as 300 degrees centigrade, which is actually a wrong data. So you need to detect and correct those such outliers using predefined thresholds by calculating the rolling average. System example, right? Equipment flags or removes the reading of the outlier, replacing it with a calculated average or the neighboring data point. So based on your average historical data, right, you correct the average and remove those entries which has 300 degrees centigrade. So in case of telecom fixing inconsistent call duration format. So call records from a telecom provider include duration records inconsistently with some in seconds, and some in hours. So the formatting, this is a simple example of formatting. So you'll standardize all the call duration to a common units called seconds, and you'll just convert everything to seconds and this thing. Okay, thank you. That's all for data cleaning. We'll see you in the next part.